I'm here at the farm show. I have the privilege this morning to interview Secretary Redding here at the Department of Ag.
Welcome, good to see you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this is a great experience to be at the farm show, and we have the head of the Department of Ag here today. So
Good.
thanks for
Honored to
joining
Thank
me.
you.
So you know, being from Adams County and Cumberland County, it's orchard country. So.
Yeah.
You know, what is the Department of Ag doing for Adams County orchard folks?
Well, you can see them out just across the
Yeah.
aisle, right? So all of those neighbors of ours doing a lot of things. I mean, I think if you talk to the fruit growers, I mean, they've got a number of issues. Certainly, you know, the weather this past year has just been torture for all of ag, but particularly where you've got food products like an apple and grapes and things around the state. So we're working with them on a couple of crop insurance issues that they have surfaced, tried to make sure that we're helping to promote the product, of course, with the Pennsylvania Preferred and the Apple Marketing Initiative. You know, the immigration issue and labor for them is front and center. We're working with them on both the workforce issues, because that's evolving. It's not simply about the guest worker program, but it's also about how do you get enough workforce to come into the Rice Fruit Company or Now's Foods Cooperative.
Absolutely.
You know, it's part of our conversation all the time. Making sure we're just being responsive to those guys. They're such a key part of Adams County, York County, and the state of Pennsylvania, of course. But a lot of great growers, the Young Grower Alliance, just really good thinkers, and helping us think through, from the state's perspective, how do we respond as a department to those evolving needs, right?
Sure. Sure, I know this year they had a bad hailstorm. The Hollowball family, I know they had a big hailstorm that really hurt their farm. So, helping them with those insurance issues is definitely an important aspect, I think.
Yeah.
As well. And so there's been a movement now for the cider industry, the hard cider industry, to kind of make its appearance. What kind of perspective do you have on that industry?
Well, I think it was a great addition to the farm show last year. We had hard ciders last year. We've added the craft beer industry this year. The hard ciders, I think, are one of those great sort of developments of, traditional agriculture with food and access, right, by the public and consumers. And you look at the folks who are in it, they're looking at that as that opportunity in the future to really diversify the operations, make a connection to people with their products. Some great hard cideries around Adams County.
Sure.
Yeah, it's nice. And get down and take a look at the awards that were presented this year, and we have a tasting of the hard ciders. There's a line down there all the time.
Sure is.
Right? It's really cool. It's nice.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're from Adams County. I'm from Adams County.
Yeah.
What do you love about Adams County agriculture?
Well, I think there's the fruitlands, as we've talked about, unique soils, unique part of PA. You blend that with some history of the battlefield. You blend that further with Hanover Shoe Farms and the open spaces and preservation. It's just a beautiful spot. We've, as you know, sort of protected that rural heritage and the agricultural stewardship of that area. At the same time, trying to bring some industry in. But growing up there, it's a wonderful spot to call home.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, our district also encompasses Cumberland County,
Yeah.
Western Cumberland County specifically, which is a huge dairy community. So I'm sure you get this question a lot, but what are we doing to help the dairy farmers, which is an industry that's dealing with some things right now?
Yeah, it's a great question, and one that we've spent a lot of time on. I mean, I say that about every third conversation here at the farm shows with a dairy producer or about dairy because of its significance. I mean, it's the largest sector of agriculture in Pennsylvania. So what happens to it speaks volumes for what happens to the rest of ag, and you could even argue for the rest of the economy. So we're concerned about it. 2 years ago, felt the need to really have some outside view. So we had some economists look at Pennsylvania. Some basic questions. Are we competitive? The answer to that was yes. But the second part was you've got to change.
Sure.
And the change is both the way consumers are buying, where they're buying it, what they're buying, and the trend out of fluid milk, which is what you put in your refrigerator and myself, to more of the manufactured items of yogurt and cheeses. That's not where Pennsylvania historically has been focused on the processing side. So we're trying to reinvest, first time in the state's history, dedicated funding last year in the budget for a dairy investment program. allows for marketing and research and development and processing investments. So I think that's a good thing. Working with federal policy issues with our delegation as well, and some success in the last farm bill that was just passed.
Sure.
So it's a lot of things. It's not going to be enough right at the moment, just because the pain has been pretty severe, continues to be severe in the last 2 years. There's a basic question about how much equity can these farmers afford to lose, and so it has really focused us on looking at what we can do to bring the consumer back into the dairy conversation. There's a lot of alternatives. There's a lot of distraction there.
Sure.
Right? Get them back in. Most important thing anybody can do is to buy dairy products. Right? If you're producing, you got to consume it.
Yep.
And consumption is one of our challenges in the dairy industry. So finding the equilibrium between what's produced and what's consumed is really important to us right now.
Absolutely. Well, I know the Ecker household's helping out with the milk consumption, because my son's favorite drink's chocolate milk. So
that's good,
and that's for every meal. So
good.
But we'll kind of end with this. Kind of a fun question. My father-in-law owns a farm over in York County, and is a cattle farm, and it's kind of a family experience, and it really brings our family together. We do our own butchering, and that's a family experience every year. So that drives my love for agriculture. What drove your love for agriculture? Why are you here?
Yeah, well, I think it's part the experience I had as a child, growing up on a dairy farm in Adams County, but it's also the experience I had in the FFA as part of the Ag Science program at Gettysburg High School, and had an advisor who, saw the world of agriculture obviously as my mentor in a different way, and imparted that, and instilled in me this sort of love of agriculture, both as a occupation and a vocation. And I feel very fortunate to be here. And, to work with farm and agriculture and food system is really an honor. So I look forward to working with you in the legislature. Congratulations.
Absolutely, and thank you. And again, I'd like to thank Secretary Russell Redding for being here and giving me the opportunity to interview him. And a hometown favorite for us. And we appreciate all the good hard work he does for Adams County and the rest of the state on agriculture.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Enjoy.